Hey friends, how are you? Tonight, I'm going to speak with you about President Trump's new proclamation that he signed into effect. He signed this today, as a matter of fact, June 22nd. So today in this video, I'm going to be speaking with you guys about the proclamation suspending entry of aliens who are present, who present a risk to the U.S. labor market following the coronavirus. So if you guys are out there, as usual, give me some hearts, some likes, thumbs up. This is YouTube live, but for those of you who are watching on Instagram and on Facebook, do you know what to do? Friends, I'm Latoya McBean Pompey. I'm an immigration lawyer in New York. It's another proclamation today that restricts the entry of folks coming into the United States in a very, very big way. And you may have been watching other videos on YouTube. You may have been reading the news. It's been widely anticipated that he was going to come out today with this proclamation that restricts visa entrance for those who are coming in on temporary work visa programs. And also that other executive order that went into effect in April, right? So we were expecting that he was going to extend that other executive order that went into effect last month in April. And so, in fact, he did. And then he's also restricting entry in a very major way for folks who are coming here, who want to come here on temporary work visa programs. And so I'm going to walk you through this proclamation today. I didn't want to do a video prior to this because I didn't want to speculate about what was going to be in this. I wanted to have it in front of you so that you guys can see this for yourself. And so I'm going to walk you through, if you're interested in hearing about this breaking news, the new proclamation that Trump signed today, stick around, watch this video, watch it again so that you can digest the information that I'm going to share with you, because it really is a lot of information. And quite frankly, this thing is like super packed with stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot in here, but I'm going to focus in on what I believe to be the most critical parts of this proclamation that's going to impact you guys out there and your family here in the U.S. If you're watching me from here in the U.S. and you're trying to bring your family here, this also may very well impact you. So just watch this all the way until the end. And so here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to wow, a lot of you are watching. This is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And so this is the proclamation suspending entry of aliens who present a risk to the U.S. labor market following the coronavirus pandemic outbreak. This was issued today, June 22nd, 2020. And so, friends, this proclamation starts off by hold on a second. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. This proclamation, friends, starts off with the rationale. Why in the world is this needed, right? And so the president and his team has come up with some reasons here why this is needed, right? And so firstly, they cite the labor market. They cite the fact that quite a bit of people had filed for unemployment benefits. The unemployment rate is still pretty high, and it jumped significantly over the past few months. And so it starts off by saying some things related to the unemployment rate, but then it says that on April 22nd, 2020, the president issued another proclamation suspending the entry of immigrants who, as you guys know, you've watched some of those videos that I did back in April, letting you guys know that there's a 60-day ban, right? This is the 60-day suspension issue here. This proclamation starts off by saying, hey, remember this 60-day suspension that I put into effect in April? Well, guess what? I'm going to extend that. And just to refresh your memory, friends, that 60-day suspension suspends the entry of folks who are adult children of U.S. Citizens, people who are seeking an immigrant visa or permanent residency here in the U.S. So it suspends the entry of adult children of U.S. citizens, parents of U.S. citizens, spouses and children of green card holders, and siblings of U.S. citizens, in addition to some other categories. But those are the main ones, right, that it really did suspend. And so this new proclamation is saying that ban, that 60-day ban, is now being extended until December 31st, 2020. December 31st, guys, 2020 is when that ban has been extended until. Okay, so let me get into the meat of this, but I wanted to put that out to you first. So for those of you who are wondering, okay, when is it going to end? Well, according to this, December 31st, 2020. Okay, so let's go into the proclamation. Okay, so this is my handwritten notes, by the way. I just read this and I took notes, and so you're seeing my handwriting here. Okay, so this proclamation from April, apparently, as you guys recall, in this proclamation, it said something to the effect that, well, the Secretary of Labor and the Secretary of Homeland Security need to review all other non-immigrant programs and come back and report to the president about changes to those programs, right? And so they're saying in this proclamation that they've done that. And so here are the changes that are recommended. And so specifically, let me go back to more rationale. Okay, so we talked about the fact that a lot of jobs were lost, right? According to this, 17 million jobs were lost in certain industries that are connected to the H-2B visa program. And then it also says 20 million workers lost their jobs related to H-1B and L worker positions, blah, 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 all this data to support this proclamation. But then guys, listen to this one. I was so surprised to see this one in here. Guess who else this proclamation is supposed to help? Black people. Black people. How timely is this? Okay, according to the proclamation, this will also help Blacks and other minorities and folks who are disabled who have been disadvantaged because of all these foreign workers coming into the U.S. taking the jobs. So I thought that was a weird spin on things. But now let's get into the meat of this. Okay, so Section 1 of the proclamation says that April 2020 proclamation suspending the entry of immigrant visa applicants, suspending their entry, that's going to continue, and it will expire on December 31st, 2020, and may be continued as necessary. So just know that it may be extended beyond December 31st, 2020, if President Trump wins is reelected, and they decide to extend it. It's in here that they can do that as well. Okay, so this is effective immediately. Okay, and it says here that in addition to that, here are the non-immigrant visa programs or visa categories that are also suspended under this proclamation. The first is the H-1B or H-2B, H-1B and H-2B programs suspended. Now, again, this applies to those who are outside of the United States. It does not apply to those of you who are already here in the United States in these programs currently. This is for those of you who are outside of the U.S. right now. Okay, so for the H-1B, H-2B, and any of the aliens who will accompany them. And so specifically, they're talking about the spouse and kids who typically follow along. Then the J visa. The J visa is also suspended, and it's for any aliens who are coming here as an intern, trainee, teacher, camp counselor, au pair, or any summer work travel program, and then those who may come with you, suspended. Last, the L visa category, guys. The L visa is for individuals who are working for a company and they're being transferred here in the United States. And so we're talking about executives, managers, and people in other positions that require specialized knowledge, right? So the L visa. So again, we're talking H-1B, H-2B, spouses and children who are related to the principal visa applicant, the J visa, and then the L visa. Those are suspended until December 31st, 2020. Okay, now let's get into some more meat of this proclamation. And if you're finding this information helpful, go ahead and give me some likes, some thumbs up, and share this with your feed so that other people will get a breakdown of what's in this new proclamation. Okay, it also says, okay, who shall this apply to? Who does this apply to, this proclamation? This proclamation applies to those who are outside of the United States as of the effective date of the proclamation. And the individual does not currently have a non-immigrant visa that was issued to that individual, right? That's effective as of the date of this proclamation. So number one, you're outside of the United States on the effective date of this proclamation. Number one. Number two, you don't already have your non-immigrant visa, a valid non-immigrant visa. And number three, you don't have an official travel document other than a visa. Okay, so this applies to those individuals who meet those three criteria, so to speak. Who does this not apply to? Who does this not apply to? It does not apply to any lawful permanent resident who is currently outside of the United States. It does not apply to U.S. citizen spouses and children who are also out of the United States, okay? And it does not apply to any alien who is coming here to work to help with our food supply chain, okay? So if you're coming here for the purpose of taking a position related to our food supply chain, it does not apply to you. And then this is a big one. It does not apply to those whose entry would be in our national interest. Okay, so there is a big national interest, kind of like a waiver, but not really. But there's for those who are coming here that would benefit our national interest. This does not apply to you either. And this proclamation explains to you, it defines this very well. And I'm going to get into that in a moment here. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, how is this going to work? Who's going to be the decision maker? Who's going to determine whether I get this visa or not? And so according to the proclamation, it's going to be the consular officer who's interviewing you or your relative. They're going to determine whether you fall into one of those exceptions or not. Okay, so going back to that national interest section, guys. So according to the proclamation, you may fall into this national interest section if you're coming here and your position is critical to our defense, law enforcement, diplomacy, or national security of the U.S., or you are coming here to provide medical care to individuals who have COVID-19, okay, or who are hospitalized. Or if you're coming here to take a position in which you're going to be doing medical research, okay, related to COVID-19, and then what's the last one here? Or necessary to facilitate the immediate and continued economic recovery. Okay, so if you're coming here to assume a position related to our economy and our recovery, right? Like, you're coming here, not maybe like almost like a consultant, so to speak, helping us to recover. So those are the categories of individuals who fall into that whole national interest section. So if you're coming here to assume a position related to any of those categories that I just mentioned, then the consular officer will use that discretion that he or she has to allow you to issue you that visa. This is totally discretionary, totally discretionary. Okay, This proclamation also says that if anyone violates, right, this proclamation by fraud, misrepresentation, or illegal entry, they're going to be prioritized for removal. You'll be moved up with respect to removal, and be quickly removed from the U.S. Now, let's see, what's this? Okay, so folks who are this proclamation does not prevent you from applying for asylum, seeking asylum here in the U.S., or refugee status, or withholding of removal, or any other or protection under the Convention Against Torture. So you can, if you're coming here, if you're seeking asylum in the U.S., this proclamation does not apply to you. Okay, now let's see what else is in this. Now, this was a provision that I thought was really interesting. I didn't see this one coming. Now, if you have a final order, and this is kind of weird, right? Because honestly, in my view, anyway, let me just read it to you before I say what's on my mind. But if there's, according to this, if there's an alien who have a final order of removal, right, an order of removal that was issued by a judge, or you're inadmissible or deportable from the U.S., or you have been arrested, charged with, or convicted of a criminal offense in the United States, you won't be eligible for a work permit anymore. So this, I need to, this section, in addition to some other sections in here, there's going to be more analysis and more work that's going to be put into what does this really mean. And this is actually one of those where I think, okay, we need to really think about and really look into what exactly does the administration mean by this, and how expansive, how broad is this particular provision? Because there's some elements of this that I still don't really understand yet. I mean, I read it today, right? So need time to really think and process all of this. And so do my colleagues, okay? So this is interesting. This is in here, guys. So if you have a criminal history or a final removal order, then they're saying that, or you've been, arrested, charged with, or convicted of a criminal offense, that would hinder you from being eligible to work in the United States. So, yeah. Okay. Now this is effective on June 24th. Okay. Becomes effective on June 24th, which is just two days. In 2 days. Let's see. Is there anything else in here I want to share? No, that's it. So I'm going to jump back up here. Hold on one second. Okay. So guys, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in right now. But the main point is this, that President Trump is slowly chipping away at lawful immigration, slowly chipping away at processes that are in place to allow people to come into the U.S. slowly, one thing after another. And now when you really put it all together, it captures so many people. A whole lot of people are impacted by this. But according to the administration, this proposal will help will help us with what, 500,000 jobs. Will produce 500,000 jobs here in the U.S., 500,000 jobs, something like that. It's part of their rationale that this opens up opportunities for U.S. workers to fill over 500,000 positions. But in any event, this proclamation will be going into effect in 2 days. It extends the April 22nd, 2020 proclamation, which suspended entry of suspended immigrant visa to those family categories that I discussed earlier. That has been extended from 60 days to now December 31st. And by the way, there's a section in here that says that every 60 days, they're actually going to be reviewing these, what's happening with these, with these changes. So there's going to be some sort of internal review process that's going to happen like every 60 days. So we'll see whether they change course after some time. But we know that some legislators on Capitol Hill on the Republican side were pushing to suspend the temporary work programs. Some legislators wanted to suspend this until the end of the national emergency around coronavirus. But this is going until December 31st. And so it impacts quite a bit of people. Again, the H-1B, H-2B, L visa, the J visa, and then the spouse and children of those who would be coming in with the principal. And then it also impacts those family categories that I mentioned earlier, which is awful because now it puts you in a really worse situation. So I hate breaking this kind of news to you guys, but I wanted you to see it for yourself in this proclamation. I didn't want to scare you with speculation, and I hope you found this information helpful to you. And so I would say that, work with it. If you think that you fall into one of these exceptions here in the proclamation, particularly the national interest one. The national interest section allows us to really analyze the case carefully to see whether you fall into one of those categories mentioned here that would allow you or your relative to actually come here. So that's what I'm going to share in this video. I'm going to, as more thought and analysis is put into this proclamation and I learn more, and in terms of what this means, what that means, I will definitely do more videos about this proclamation. And as I develop more tips and strategies for you guys, certainly, I'm going to come back in front of you and share that information as well. So guys, don't be afraid of this. But, I spoke with someone today. I had a consultation with someone who said, listen, I'm so fed up with all of this. I'm fed up with all of these things. It's like, it's a lot. And I agree with him. And he wants to go back home, and sometimes you get to that point where it's like, enough is enough already. But I just want to encourage you guys, don't give up. Keep fighting, stay strong, stay encouraged. And again, if you feel like you may fall into one of those national interest categories, work with a lawyer. Give our office a call, 718-301-9732, to get on my calendar so we could talk about it a little bit more. Friends, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Share this video with other people. Subscribe to McBean Immigration TV if you have not yet subscribed yet. And by the way, I have some really good videos coming out for you guys this week as well. So watch the videos this week. I'm talking about some updated information for you guys. So stay tuned. Friends, I so appreciate you, and I'm going to jump off right now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.